Imagine moving a stone so heavy that your entire family weighs less than it. You push with everything you have, but the enormous stone barely moves across the ground. You call for help, and several others gather beside you to push the stone. Together you push again, yet the enormous stone still crawls painfully across the ground. Today the solution seems obvious. Just put wheels underneath it. But these people have never seen a cart, a wagon, or even a working wheel. For almost all of human existence, nobody had ever traveled on wheels. That seems strange, because round shapes were already everywhere in nature. Round stones tumbled downhill, and fallen tree trunks could roll across the ground. So humans already knew something important. Round objects could roll, yet thousands of generations passed without turning that simple observation into a way to travel. Instead, people crossed enormous distances, carrying food, tools, children, hides, and everything else they needed. Heavy loads were dragged across the earth, even though the solution seems obvious to us. So why didn't someone simply make a wooden wheel? Because a round piece of wood solved almost nothing. Put it beneath a heavy load, and the wooden disc simply rolls away or falls over. The disc needed something to hold it securely in the right position. But that created new problems. The wheel wasn't one brilliant idea. It emerged from a long chain of problems humans had been solving for thousands of years. Before wheels, moving almost anything heavy depended on human muscle. A hunter returning with heavy prey had to carry or drag it all the way back. Families moving across the landscape carried food, tools, hides, and other supplies themselves. Even a bundle of firewood became exhausting over a long journey, and heavier loads quickly required more people. Large stones created an even greater challenge for ancient builders trying to move them. People could tie ropes around a heavy object and pull together across the ground. But every step meant fighting friction. On rough ground, heavy loads caught against rocks and scraped through the soil. Add enough weight, and an entire group might be needed just to move it. This severely limited how much a family could transport at once, so humans searched for easier ways to move heavy loads across the landscape. One ancient solution was surprisingly simple. It used two long wooden poles with supplies secured between them and their ends dragging behind. A person pulled this frame while the ground supported part of its weight. Today, we call this a travois. At White Sands, researchers discovered ancient drag marks running beside human footprints. Some tracks may have come from wooden poles dragging loads behind people. This suggests humans experimented with transport long before wheeled carts appeared. But the travois still scraped across the ground with every step. On soft earth, it worked well. On rocky ground, its wooden poles could catch, bounce, or suddenly stop. Heavy loads still demanded enormous effort, especially when traveling across long distances. So one problem remained. How could humans make dragging easier? One answer was beautifully simple. Instead of dragging the load directly, humans placed it on long wooden runners. The weight now rested on a platform designed to slide across the ground. Nothing rotated beneath it. This still wasn't a wheel. But this simple sledge brought humans one step closer to a revolutionary breakthrough. The sledge kept heavy loads together as one stable unit while they moved. On smooth ground, several people could pull weights too heavy to carry. But one old enemy remained: friction. The wooden runners still rubbed against the earth during the entire journey. Add a heavier stone, and suddenly the sledge became painfully difficult to pull. On wet ground, it worked more easily. But rough ground could stop the same sledge almost completely, so carrying more weight wasn't the real problem. Humans needed heavy loads to move without constantly scraping against the earth. Then people noticed something useful about fallen tree trunks lying on the ground. A heavy log didn't always need dragging. Push it sideways and the entire trunk could roll across the ground. Rolling the same heavy log required far less effort than dragging it. That suggested an experiment. Place several round logs beneath a heavy platform. Now the platform could roll forward instead of scraping against the earth. Suddenly, moving the heavy load became dramatically easier. For a moment, the problem seemed solved. Then, one wooden roller emerged from behind the moving platform. The platform continued forward, leaving that roller behind on the ground. Someone had to carry the roller back to the front. Then another roller escaped from behind, creating exactly the same problem. Workers repeatedly carried used rollers from the back to the front. On a straight path, this awkward system could still work surprisingly well. But during a turn, the rollers stopped lining up beneath the platform. One log could twist sideways while another continued rolling forward. On uneven ground, the entire platform could tilt dangerously to one side. Soft soil created another problem. Heavy loads could push the rollers downward. Rolling reduced friction, but created new problems. Still, one important idea was now impossible to ignore. Round objects could support heavy weight while continuously rotating beneath it. But what if those rollers never escaped from beneath the load? Imagine cutting a thick wooden log into several separate round discs. Each disc could remain beside the load instead of rolling away. It seemed like the obvious solution, but loose wooden discs beneath a platform immediately created another problem. As the platform moved, the separate discs rolled in different directions. The discs somehow needed to stay attached while remaining free to rotate. That changed the problem completely. A wooden bar could connect two discs and keep them aligned beneath the load. But now connected parts still needed to turn. If the bar rotated, its support had to let the entire bar turn freely. If the bar stayed fixed, the wooden discs had to rotate around it. Either design revealed the wheel's real mechanical challenge. The two discs had to remain aligned while rotating around one central axis. That central wooden bar became the axle. Now the wheels could rotate while remaining permanently beneath the load. No one needed to carry escaped rollers back to the front anymore. The wheel and axle had finally become one working transport system. But making that system actually work would prove much harder. A tiny mistake could make the whole vehicle wobble or break. Every wheel needed a precise center. If the axle hole was off-center, the wheel rose and fell with every turn. The result was a cart bouncing violently across the ground instead of rolling smoothly. Over time, that shaking could damage both wheel and axle. The wheels had to match too. Make one slightly larger, and the entire cart would pull toward one side. Then came the axle. Too tight, and the wheel could barely turn. Too loose? The wheel wobbled, and every wooden surface had to survive constant rubbing beneath a heavy load. Precision suddenly mattered. But solving the engineering wasn't enough. A beautifully built cart worked well on firm, flat ground. Then came deep mud. Its heavy wheels sank, turning an efficient vehicle into something painfully difficult to pull. Rocky ground created another nightmare, violently shaking the wooden cart with every stone. Thick forests could simply block its path. And steep slopes made heavy carts dangerous to control. The wheel had limits. Building a working wheel and axle system was only half the problem. It also needed somewhere suitable to roll. The world around the wheel mattered. A usable path could suddenly make a heavy cart incredibly efficient. Strong draft animals added something humans couldn't provide alone: enormous pulling power. Skilled woodworkers could build stronger wheels and repair them when they failed. Settled communities created another advantage: crops and goods that needed regular transportation. The wheel needed an entire system. Skills, animals, terrain, and demand all had to come together. In a strange way, civilization helped the wheel before the wheel helped civilization. So when did that finally happen? That's surprisingly hard to answer. Wood usually doesn't survive underground for thousands of years, so archaeologists sometimes search for what a wheel left behind. At Flintbeck in Germany, they discovered something remarkable beneath an ancient burial mound. There was no cart, no wooden wheels either. Only two parallel tracks remained pressed into the ancient ground. Their shape revealed that a wheeled vehicle had once passed directly across this spot. More than 5,000 years ago, the vehicle vanished. Its tracks didn't. Then archaeologists found something even better elsewhere in Europe. Near Ljubljana, waterlogged soil preserved an actual wooden wheel for thousands of years. Part of its axle survived beside it. This wasn't a crude experiment. It was already carefully engineered, suggesting earlier wheel designs may have existed before it. But there was another clue. Humans had already learned how to control rotation. Potters spun clay on rotating platforms while carefully shaping vessels with their hands. The platform turned repeatedly around one stable central point. So controlled rotation may actually have appeared before wheeled transportation. Then why didn't wheeled transport appear everywhere? Because understanding rotation wasn't enough. Wheels also needed the right conditions around them. In some places, those conditions existed. Elsewhere, wheeled transport offered little advantage. The ancient Americas show this perfectly. Great American civilizations flourished for centuries without widespread wheeled transport. So, did they somehow miss the wheel? Archaeologists in Mexico found something surprising: small ancient figurines fitted with wheels. The basic wheel and axle principle was clearly understood. Maybe they knew the wheel. They simply didn't need carts. Mountains, forests, and rough trails made heavy-wheeled vehicles difficult to use. There was another problem. Many regions lacked large domesticated animals powerful enough to pull heavy carts. Without draft animals, humans supplied most of the pulling power themselves. On rough terrain, carrying goods could simply work better. The wheel needed the right world. In Eurasia, those conditions increasingly came together, and wheeled transport continued to improve, but early wheels were incredibly heavy. They were thick wooden discs built for strength, not speed. Slow carts could use them. Faster vehicles needed something lighter. So craftspeople began removing unnecessary weight from the wheel. Some wheels were carefully assembled from several joined pieces of wood. Then came a bigger breakthrough. Builders connected the outer rim to a central hub using thin wooden spokes. Most of the heavy wood disappeared, yet the wheel remained strong. And suddenly, vehicles could move much faster. That opened the door to the chariot. Light-spoked wheels allowed horses to pull these vehicles at remarkable speeds. People could now race across landscapes faster than heavy carts ever allowed. And that changed more than transportation. Chariots became tools of hunting, warfare, travel, and status. The wheel had come a long way. But transportation wasn't its final trick. Humans discovered that rotation could power machines too. Wheels could lift water, turn gears, and transfer motion through simple mechanisms. One principle began spreading into countless technologies. Eventually, controlled rotation became essential to the machines surrounding modern life. Now return to our enormous stone. Why didn't humans simply put wheels beneath it thousands of generations earlier? Because roundness was never the hardest part. Humans already knew logs rolled. They already knew round objects turned. The difficult part was making rotation useful, reliable, and strong enough to carry weight. That required axles, precise woodworking, suitable materials, and the right environment. Remove one piece, and the brilliant idea might fail. So perhaps inventions aren't born from one clever thought. Sometimes an idea must wait until the world around it is ready. What obvious invention might be waiting for our world to become ready?